Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, and I'm back with Kim Murden, the storyteller. Now, you may remember in my previous video, if you watched it, and if you didn't, I'll put a link in, usual thing. We were talking about the ancient art of storytelling. Well, we're in for a special treat. Not least, I'm going to move out of the frame so you won't get to see me, but Kim is going to give us an example of the type of stories that she tells. So sit back and enjoy.
So the other night, Richard, I was out walking the dog and I met this other woman walking the dog, and the moon was just coming out, and we got to talking about the moon and how it remains a constant throughout our lives and wherever we are in the world. And she began to tell me about how she'd grown up with her dad by herself because her mother had died when she was young. And the thing she loved the most about her dad was the stories he'd tell her at night time and how they connected in to his life of growing up in the north in Siberia, from the land where the Chukchi tribe live. And we just need to know that they live in tents called yarangas. And her favourite story was about a young girl who also lived alone with her father. And he called her his precious little moonbeam. And she helped him out in all the things they needed to do, and one of her duties was to help look after the reindeer. So in the summer, she'd take them out to the pastures where there was plenty of food. And then in the winter, of course, she had to push them out further because it was harder to find food for them. But her dad had taught her that if the tightness in her belly started to squeeze with hunger, that she was to choose one of the oldest matriarch reindeer and ask to ride it home. And we meet her on one such evening, and the girl was drowsing off as the crunch of the pads on the snow, when suddenly the reindeer spoke. She said, "Quick, little maid, you need to wake up. The moon man is coming." And the girl, she kind of came out of her doze and she looked up, and there in the sky was a sledge with this big looking moon man pulled by 6 reindeer. She said, "Well, what does he want?" "He's coming to get you," she said. She said, "Well, what am I going to do?" Without another word, the reindeer scraped away some snow big enough for the girl to get in. She said, "Quick, jump in," and she covered her over. And just in time, because the sledge just glided to a halt nearby, and the moon man got out of the sledge and he started to look around for her. And he was sniffing the air, and he even stood right up next to that snowman, but he couldn't find her. And irritated and with a sigh, he wedged himself back into that sledge and went off. And the reindeer, she scooped away the snow. She said, "Come on, we need to go because I think he'll come back for you. We've got no time to lose." So with snow flurrying around them, they padded back into the camp, and the girl ran into her father's yaranga, and it was empty. And she cried out, "Who's going to protect me now?" And the reindeer said once more, "We could turn you into a lump of rock." No, he'll work that out." "Well, an axe, then?" "No, surely he'll work that out too." "How about a tent pole?" No. "A hair on the tent flap?" No. And then the girl, she had her own idea. She said, "I know what, turn me into a lamp." And so, without further ado, the girl, she got into the yaranga and she started to crouch, and the reindeer tapped the ground and she turned into this lamp, and the lamp lit up the whole tent. And not soon after, they heard the moon man coming, because he'd been out looking amongst the reindeer herd for her, and not having any luck, he stormed into the yaranga and he started to look at everything. He picked up the pots and pans, he turned over the seal skins, he went through the bedding, and he couldn't find her. And he got a bit despondent, and he decided he was going to go back to his sledge. Now the girl, she couldn't resist it. Just as he got to his sledge, she got up and she poked her head through the flaps. She went, "Oh, I'm here. I'm really here." And he stormed back in and he started to look. And again, he went through everything even more diligently. He turned the pots and pans upside down and he counted the hairs and the seal skins. And he even looked in the night vessel. Disgusting. And then he started to look even through the air for her. Nothing. And so, frustrated once more, he headed back to his sledge. She couldn't resist it. She poked her head out for that second time, laughing. She goes, I'm here, I'm really here. And this time he stormed back in. And this time he went through everything, not once, not twice, but 3 times. He went through the sticks for the fire. He went through the sheepskin 3 times. He even searched all the sounds and the silence. And as he did this, his energy started to wane. And his spindly little arms and legs could no longer hold him up. And at this point, the girl was no longer frightened of him. So she transformed herself back into her true form and she pushed him to the ground. And then she bound his arms and bound his legs. And then he started to wail. Oh, he said, no, oh, for the sins and my mischief of wanting to capture you, I'm now going to die. Please, he said, I'm actually very, very chilly. Could you just put a seal skin over me before I perish? You, she said, chilly? You're a moon. You live in the sky. What need of you? You don't have a home, and how can you be cold? And he said, you don't understand. And he really pleaded with us. You don't understand. I'm destined to leave a lonely life in the sky. And I tell you what, he said, if you let me go free, I'll serve you and your people forevermore. On certain nights, I'll make it as bright as day, and I'll help you mark the turning of the seasons. So much so that you'll go, there's the moon of the old buck. There's the cold udder moon. There's the moon of the genuine udder. Here's the carving moon. Here's the moon of waters. Here's the moon of making leaves on the tree. Here's the moon of winter warmth, summer warmth even, sorry, too much winter outside. Here's the moon of velvet upon the deer's antlers. Here's the moon of love amongst the wild deer. Here's the moon of first winter. Here's the moon of the muscles of the back. And here's the moon of the shortening of days. And the girl, hearing this, she said, I don't believe you. If I let you go, as soon as you've regained your strength and the marrow in your bones is rich and fat again, you'll come back for me. And he went, no. He said, I've learnt my lesson. Like you girls are too clever, and I will serve your people. And that's what she did. She cut him free, and he did rise back up into the sky, and he's been serving people ever since. So that lady who told me that story, we then looked up at the moon there and we chatted on a bit. When I said, you know what, that moon, I said, I think I remember my grandfather saying that the December moon's called the oak moon. And then the moon to come in January is called the moon after Yule, or the moon of staying at home. And we parted and we took a story each. And there my tale ends.
Fantastic. What an amazing story.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. So that's from Siberia.
Is it a Siberian story? I was going to say,
yeah.
And you had me there going, is she or isn't she going to, and
fall for it.
Exactly. Because I did think it was an element of, she's going to untie him and he gobbles her up, so don't be foolhardy. Just to end on that, in our previous one we were talking about stories. Are there, morals or something? If you see a lot of American cartoons at the moment, they shove the morals in by spade loads.
Well, there are, but I think a good storyteller just lets the story just land, and you go off, and then do what you want to it as a listener. Storytellers will chew the cards and deconstruct, but I think it harms the tale if you analyse it. There's lots I could tell you about that tale, but I'm not going to.
No.
You'll go and take it as a gift of what it is, I hope.
Absolutely. Well, there we are. So if you're watching this as we've recorded this near to Christmas, over the Christmas period, it'll be interesting now if you're telling stories and you're just slightly aware, you've just been talked to about stories, whether you suddenly become a bit more aware of the storytelling that goes on over the Christmas table, whether that's about the journey you've had coming down from wherever it is, or something a bit more older. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much, Kim.
Pleasure.
Don't forget to follow, like and subscribe, become a patron, and as we get out of this dreadful weather that we've had recently, I should be out and about doing more explorations. But in the meantime, lovely to hear all your comments, and if you've been to storytelling events or you're a storyteller yourself, do tell us about it. Till next time, from Kim and I, thanks for watching, and goodbye.
Goodbye.